It's 7 o'clock on the DOT. You know what time it is. It's time for LidLine Sports. Welcome back, everybody, to LidLine Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio World, the number 401st show, because last week we had number 400. I am Pep, and my man O. What's happening? O is on Zoom.
What's good, Pepe? How you doing, man?
Oh, it's Pepe. Oh, okay.
Had to change it up a little bit.
Yeah. You caught me by surprise. That's cool though. I like it. What's happening, bro? Did you have a
Uh,
good weekend?
yeah, man, I'm doing pretty good. A chill weekend. Got to catch up a little bit on the high school basketball scene, see what's been going on there. Uh,
Okay.
Date starts next week, so regionals this past weekend, and it looks like this is going to be I think the first time in a while that the gold ball is literally up for grabs. There is not one favorite coming
Man.
into state playoffs this year, and I like that. I love it.
Yeah, you're not kidding. I was at the game Saturday, the regionals Saturday, so we'll get into that in a little bit. But first, I actually want to. I mean, I know this is going to surprise you, but I want to talk about NASCAR real quick.
Oh, so you threw a
Because
curveball right there.
yeah, I mean, you threw me one, I throw one right back at you. but because I saw the highlight of what they showed at the Atlanta Motor Speedway yesterday, and
Okay.
then wow. I mean, the first the top three were neck and neck and neck. It's like who the heck won? I mean, you talk about a photo finish, man. They had to do a microscope finish, but eventually Daniel Suarez took first place by 0.03 of a tenth of a second, which is crazy. Ryan Blaney came in second, and Kyle Busch came in third. But what's so funny is fourth, fifth, and sixth did the same thing.
Oh,
Those three were like, bam, neck and neck and neck. And so Cindric, uh, Bubba Wallace Jr., and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Came in fourth, fifth, and
wow.
sixth. Yeah.
Nice.
So
Well,
that, I mean, thanks, Daniel. Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, that's
no,
crazy.
Neil. Yeah, that was really crazy.
Somebody asked me if I've ever been to a NASCAR race, and I haven't. But you know what? It's something that I wouldn't mind checking out. One way or the other. Maybe sometime if I'm ever in a area where when the race is coming, or maybe who knows? Maybe I might just decide to what I'm going to go to Atlanta or Daytona or wherever there's a race and just check it out for once. I heard that if you're you know, s- sitting by the I guess the sidelines, I guess for lack of a better word, that the speed in which they travel when they go past you is unbelievable.
Mm.
You get a little bit of that. Like I seen, like somebody had a video of, yeah, that finish is crazy.
Wow.
Look at that. That is unbelievable.
Wow.
I mean, they're basically there at the same time,
Yeah.
man. But
I feel.
anyway, I saw on Facebook somebody had posted, what it's like to be sitting right by the track as the cars are flying by, and it's like they're blowing jackets off, and a hat. Of course, why are you wearing a hat? I mean, come on, and please don't wear a wig, right?
That's flying off. That's for sure
Yeah.
flying.
Can you imagine? Oh my gosh. Yeah, you take somebody there and it's like you don't know they're wearing a wig or something. It's like, hello. Let me introduce you to my real self here. But yeah, that was pretty cool. But I just thought that when I saw that highlight, it was just wow, that's something else. So have you ever been
Ah,
to a race?
no, I haven't, but that's what I do appreciate your journalism skills. You're a sports junkie, and I don't think I don't think I ever sat down and actually watch the NASCAR race, but of course, the all times, the Dale Earnhardt juniors and seniors, Jeff Gordon, Kyle Busch, you just named,
Well,
Bubba.
you believe it or not, I used to have a favorite driver when I was a kid,
Okay,
and his name was Buddy Baker.
never
I
heard of him.
don't ask me why. Oh boy, well you better get on Google and Google that guy. He was my favorite. It'll
Okay.
say Pep's favorite. No, it won't say that. But anyway, yeah, he was my guy, and I used to watch because they had him on Saturday or Sundays back in the day on like Wild World of Sports. There
Mm.
you go, Daniel. See, man, you didn't have to
Dead
show that
flag.
flag though. Oh. But Richard Petty, of course, was the hallmark guy, and I'm sure I'm missing a few others, of course. I'm sure there are people out there that could remind me. But Buddy Baker, for some reason, was my guy. Maybe it was just the name, and I liked his car, so it's probably his car more than likely, for a young lad like myself.
Mm.
But I never really got deep into it. I just thought it was pretty cool, every now and then catching Wild World of Sports and watching that. So yeah. So for you NASCAR fans, I hope this satisfies you a little bit because I know we don't talk about uh, NASCAR and golf and hockey and stuff like that. And the reason for that, folks, is because we're only on here for an hour a week, and we gotta catch the big three right. We gotta catch the NFL, NBA, and Major League Baseball. Spring training's coming up, so we're gonna get into a little bit of that a little bit later on. So, that's the reason. So, and when NASCAR has stuff like this, that kind of finish, we will get it on. So
Of
this is
course.
to let you know if NASCAR is going to be this exciting, yeah, you'll have more of it. And same with the NHL. I try to get into them, especially when it comes to playoff time, and of course when the Kraken are playing well and whatnot. Right now they're kind of a little wishy washy, up and
Yeah.
down.
Not
So
kind of
so
not doing what we thought they were going to do, kind of like the Mariners. Thought that maybe another step would form, but
mhm.
hockey is so hard from year to year.
Yeah.
So,
But
and
hey, look, they just have to get in the playoffs because if they
yeah,
get in the playoffs,
exactly.
you never know what kind of damage they could do. Because we saw what they could do last year in the playoffs for their first time, which was phenomenal, I'd say. I mean, they
Um,
took the Avalanche to 7 games and beat them in Game 7, right? And they were the defending champions. Then took Dallas to 7 games and almost beat them in Dallas. So, of course, our expectations were a little bit higher this year. But look, people scout, teams are good, and Seattle's just going to have to try and get in, the best way they can, and they've gone, kind of gone back down to earth a little bit, but
yeah,
that's okay. It's kind
exactly.
of expected,
They're
right? So
still 500, so
yeah,
not bad, not
right.
great, but
Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, the way they started off, it started off like they were going to be out of it for for good. They
exactly.
were like 5, 6, 7 games under 500, and then they went on that 8, 9 game winning streak, and then
Mhm.
finally, they've been kind of 50-50 cents, but as long as, man, I hope they can get into the playoffs. If they get to the playoffs, then man, boy, it'll be exciting again because we know that they can cause do some damage and get some excitement going on for uh, Climate Pledge Arena.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we first started the show, we talked a little bit of the high school sports that was going on, and I went to the game. Me and Michael Carter Saturday. We spent all afternoon into the evening there, and we saw Lincoln of Tacoma and West Seattle in the first game, and that was good. We'll get into that in a second. The second game was the Garfield Bulldogs and Mount Spokane. We'll definitely talk about that in a minute. The third game was Stadium and no,
Was it O'Day and
no, no,
oh,
no.
okay, you didn't go to that one.
No,
Okay.
the fourth game was Stadium and Anacortes. Wait, who did Rainier Beach play? Did I? I'm getting stuff mixed up. I think Rainier Beach played state. I think they played Stadium. No, it was Stadium and Anacortes. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, yeah, Stadium
Saturday?
and Anacortes.
Was
Yeah,
it Saturday?
Saturday.
Stadium played Rainier Beach.
Okay, so I was right then.
Okay.
Okay,
Yep.
That was the last game. The
Yep.
third game was I can't remember. Carter gonna have to help me out. Oh
That,
yeah, Renton. Oh, Renton played Stadium, right? Yeah, I
no,
thought it
no,
was
no. Ren's in 2A. Couldn't have been Renton. Rainier Beach played Stadium. Rainier Beach.
okay. And then Renton played
No,
Anacortes.
no Renton. Oh,
No, Renton did play because Renton. I was there. I watched them.
really?
Yes, Renton. They had a 2A
Oh,
game.
so I guess they have their maybe they have their qualifiers there
Yes,
too.
'cause they
Interesting.
did
Okay.
have
Okay.
they had Renton on at 6. So we watched the game that started at 2, 4, 6, and 8.
That's
The
some good
first,
basketball then. That's some
yeah,
good basketball.
I want to key on some guys that I saw personally that I liked. The first game was West Seattle and Lincoln of Tacoma. West Seattle is a guy that I really like. I don't know what year he is. His name is Alex Pierce, but he's one of those guys, man. He is a high flyer, right? I mean, he's really athletic. He's got a nice jump shot, even though he wasn't on per se. But I could tell he's got good form on his jump shot, and he's a good player. West Seattle, unfortunately, could not. They came all the way back. They were down for most of the game. They actually took the lead, but then Lincoln of Tacoma, the better team's going to win most 9 times out of 10.
Yeah.
And to me, Lincoln of Tacoma definitely was the better team. And they had a guard number 2. I can't remember his name, but he is one shifty guy. Man, man, oh man, oh man, that guy is like when he's going right. Next thing you know, he's not there anymore. Right? It's like he cuts so fast, and he's a high. He was only like 5'9", but he went up for a dunk. He missed it, but I'm like, oh man, he's got some hops too. So they've got some good players on Lincoln of Tacoma. I'm not sure how far they're going to go, to be honest, but it was a good win for them. So we'll see what happens when they play Thursday. The second game was basically the main event, right? Because you had Garfield and Mount Spokane. Of course, Garfield came in. Came in with their own music. They were basing it up on the sideline there, and during the warm-ups. And then you see Mount Spokane come in here, and they weren't big at all. The Spokane guys looked like they all were like, like the tallest guy was like 6'3", 6'4", and then everybody else was like 6'1" and under, 6'1", 6'8", 6'0". But those guys, man, they're like Princeton, right?
Yeah. Play
They cut.
basketball.
Yes, they move the ball. They cut, and they got this one guy I really liked. His name was Ryan Lafferty. I made sure I remembered his name. And
He actually is a Division I player. He's going to St. Thomas. Played for Rotary, so he's played against the inner city kids. So I didn't expect for him to come in here and kind of have his tail between his legs like maybe some other teams.
He came in. He had it rolling, and he's got a smooth jump shot. He's got smooth handle, right? I mean, he's not shifty and fancy. But he's smart.
Yeah.
Right. And he's not gonna do dumb stuff. He doesn't. He makes the right pass, and he takes over when he has to take over. He's good on the break. Man, I just loved him. I mean, I enjoyed watching him. Right. He wasn't intimidated at all. Right. And in fact, it wasn't just him. Number 15, I think it was Garcia. I think his last name was, if I'm not mistaken. He had a nice shot, and it seemed like those two, I could tell, had a good camaraderie. You could always tell how two players specifically have been together for a while, and if they haven't, they sure fooled me because it looked like those two had been together for quite a while.
And if I'm not mistaken, Mount Spokane led that whole game, right?
Most of it, yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, they loved it. It was close, and then they started pulling away in the second quarter, and Garfield could never really recover. Garfield played listless the whole night. They just I don't know if they had what I thought. Like when I first came in, when I when both teams first came in, I looked at Mount Spokane. I was like, oh no way, they're about to get blown out of here, right?
Uh,
But me and Carter looked at each other like, not,
yeah.
because and I told Carter a story that I had myself personally playing when I was in Virginia. I was on a team, and I was on a Navy, it was Navy stuff, but it was on base, and our team basically had you know jacked up uniforms. We didn't have nothing fancy, and there was only like 8 of us on the team,
Uh,
right? We didn't have a full 10, 12 scout squad. Our base was real small, and then we played against the Marines. Now the Marines had these elaborate, beautiful yellow and maroon uniforms. They were, they them guys, man, they looked like, they looked like they was forming Soul Train lines and, and warm ups. They were dunking, doing all this crazy stuff, and then I could hear people in the crowd saying, "Oh man, this team over," pointing at us, saying, "Oh, y'all about to get smoked. Y'all about to get blown out." Blah. Yeah. Well, anyway, long story short, we beat them by 40.
damn.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, boy, after the first few minutes of the game, I was like, oh man, we're gonna kill these guys. And we did.
Uh,
Because I had seen them play. I had seen them play the night before, and they'd blown out a team. So I was like, oh boy, we better be ready for tomorrow, right? Well, yeah, we beat them by 40. So anyway, I thought, basically that's what I was gonna see, but I learned a lesson. And I'm sure Garfield did too. They got to play now. They got to play Wednesday at 9. They got the Egg McMuffin game. That's what they call it.
McMuffin game. Yep.
Yeah, they play at 9 o'clock. Have you seen them this year? I can't remember.
Garfield?
Yeah, you
Yeah.
played. Did you guys
No, we
play?
didn't play. Well, we played them in the summer. And I
Okay.
know that
Okay.
there was a player that was not yet playing yet. Ajayi, the tall dude with the
Oh,
braids.
right.
He wasn't playing yet because he was went through he had knee surgery.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I do think Garfield is the most talented team. I do think this year they struggle with size because they're not the biggest team.
Right.
And then just finding, I think, that second guy for them on a consistent night. Legend Smiley, who's their best player. We know what he's gonna do, and even then, he's still. I wouldn't say he's like super young, but he's not a senior leader yet.
Mm-hmm.
So I think those are a few things that they're missing, which is why I do think that this is wide open. But I mean, if you just look at all the teams roster wise, Garfield is the most talented team, though. But
Yeah,
when
but
you
they
go,
slept walked Saturday, man.
yeah, I think
I
they're
think I just didn't think I just don't think that they thought that Mount Spokane was going to put it on like that because they were down by 18, 19 points in the third quarter.
yeah.
They did make a comeback, nice comeback, and they did get it close. But Legend Smiley was pretty much sleepwalking the whole game. He tried to get it back, but sometimes it just you just don't have it, and they
And
just
he
didn't have it.
and to me, and it's no knock to him. I do think Legend.
Absolutely not.
Yeah, I do think Legend is a really good player,
Yes.
and I do think that it's something that he will learn as he gets older. Just right now, he doesn't have that tenacity and that dog in him yet. But I do
Yeah.
think he will get it.
I think they learned a lesson Saturday. That look, they just can't come in here and sleepwalk. They're going to have to go down to the dome and bring it every day.
Yep.
So especially Wednesday, Saturday morning, they're going to have to put it on. I think who they play O'Day.
Wednesday they play. I got it right here. They play Arlington. But the winner of that does play O'Day.
Okay.
Yep.
So they're gonna have to show Arlington what's up. I mean, they're gonna have to. Look, and they got to realize when you're in the tournament, everybody's good. You gotta have that mindset.
Yep.
You're in the tournament, everybody's good. So we just gonna have to do what we got to do. We can't be messing around. Can't do it.
Yeah. Just like you just said, there's no game that you can just walk in, regardless of what you've been doing all regular season. Every team is coming to play and trying to win the champion. Nobody's just happy to be here, especially like this bracket here. A lot of these guys are pretty household names, regardless of what they've done like in the past, what they're doing this season, who they have on the roster, like you're saying, teams like Lincoln, that's been a powerhouse. So they're expecting to come here to win. Mount Lake Terrace was pretty good last year. They're pretty good again this year. They barely lost all day. Auburn, who has arguably maybe the best player in the state, and Jalen Petty, they're coming here willing to play. And then, of course, Eastside Catholic, who I do think is the favorite just based off height, guys that have been here before. I do like Eastside Catholic, but that is going to be a great matchup. If Auburn can get past Lincoln, oh, man, that's going to be a good game between Auburn and Eastside Catholic. I can't wait to see that.
Yeah, and the third game featured Renton and Anacortes. And Anacortes has a guy, Davis Fogel. Now, when we were sitting on the sideline, in the stands rather, proofing the play, he came up to us. Terrell came up to us and said, "Hey, watch for number 4, Davis Fogel. He is it. He's that guy." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I watched him in warm up. So when you tell me that, I'm gonna watch the guy from, from the rooter to the toot. I'm gonna watch everything he does. How he ties his shoes, whatever. So I was checking him out, checking his mannerisms. I was like, yeah, I think he's got some game. I could tell. Warm ups, he was like, you could tell he's the guy, right? And then, of course, when the game started, yeah, he's knocking down shots and taking most of the shots, and I'm like, yeah, he doesn't have much help. He doesn't have a whole lot of help, but those guys were scrappy. I'll give him that. And those guys play hard, and they don't, and they're not, they're not trying to, steal the spot. Like when you have a team with one legitimate superstar, and everybody knows who it is. Some guys get a little testy, right? Because they'd be like, "Hey, I want some run too, right? I want to be noticed too." But there was none of that. They know who their bread and butter is, and that guy is definitely it. And so, and other people were saying, well, he don't have mental. Look, he's 16, whatever, 16, 17. Can you give him a chance?
Yeah, exactly.
The guy definitely's got game, right? Let all that other stuff mature.
Yep.
He's gonna be fine. And he's gonna be a D1 player, because So I don't know what grade I don't know what year he's in. Do you know what year Davis Fogel is in?
I don't know. I've never heard of that name before.
Oh, well, he's 6'6". He's built like George Gervin back in the day, real thin.
He's a junior. He's a junior.
See? Okay. So he's a junior.
Not only is he a junior, he is highly ranked in his class. Top 100 player. Okay.
Yes.
Nice.
And he definitely is.
Okay.
And of course he had to force some shots, because look, when you're the guy, and your team is down, you're gonna have to force some shots. So I'm not mad at him for that. He's trying to win. And Renton they have like 4 or 5 guys that I really like, but 2 in specific. Marcus Ilimanis, I really liked him. It seems like me and Carter was hearing his name on the basket by this at Marcus Ilimanis. Marcus Ilimanis. I mean, we heard that over and over, especially in the first half. And then in the second half, especially, I was hearing Dennis Johnson. And of course, when you think of Dennis Johnson, you think of DJ. But he's a lefty, and he really showed some. If he's not the guy, he showed that he can be the guy.
He is. He's definitely their best player. He's been their best player these last 2 years, I believe.
Okay.
He has a stroke. That guy, man, he's just
lefty stroke and high arcing. I like it. Yes.
And he's super crafty, like with the ball in his hands. So I feel like a lot of guys who can dribble as well, and lefties, like they're just already tough to guard because you're just not used to guarding lefties. But you add somebody with a jumper like that, he's hard to guard. He's a good player.
Yeah, and he's crafty inside as well. He's got an inside-out game. He's got good size. He's about 6'2", 6'3", I think, something like that. So yeah, man, I was impressed with him. So if anybody out there knows him or whatever, that give him kudos from LidLine. Because I was really digging him. And then the last game was Rainier Beach, and I forgot already. Stadium, was it Stadium?
Stadium, you said. Stadium.
It was Rainier Beach and State, and Rainier Beach came in with a mediocre record. They were 13-10, but I'm going to tell you right now, if this Rainier Beach team that played Saturday, they're going to be a tough out.
Yep.
Because they look really solid. The big man played pretty well. Yeah, I mean, I like I like their wing players. They got 2 or 3 wing players. I mean, if you just look at them, they got the same fro, so they look like the same guy, But so I had to check the number, right? But but I like their wing players. They're pretty good, and they all can handle the ball, so the guards don't have to always bring it up. They got a couple of little shorties that are pretty good. Nate Robinson's sons are pretty good. Ball handler. And so, yeah, I like him. He's not bad. He played pretty. I'm sure he's had better games. He played okay. I'll say he didn't play terrible and he didn't play great, but he played good enough, right? The whole team did pretty much, and won the game. They finally pulled it away in the second half. It was close. First half, of course. In the second half, they kind of pulled away and looked pretty good doing it. So I was impressed with them.
The thing about Beach is, over these last probably few years, they haven't been probably the most talented like they usually are. But one thing Coach Mike is going to coach and what he's going to demand out of his players is to play hard and to play hard defensively.
Yep.
And that's why they keep finding themselves back at state, even with not as much talent as they're used to having. The record doesn't show it, but any of those teams who are above them, especially those Metro teams that play them, they'll tell you they don't like playing against Rainier Beach.
Right.
They're a really scrappy team. They don't quit. So they're definitely, like I said, they have a shot just as much as anybody else for the most part. They just have to play a little bit of a better game offensively than other teams because defensively they're going to get the job done for sure.
Yeah, the thing about Rainier, this team, they don't have, a Doug Christie, Jamal Crawford, Nate, DeJounte. They don't have that guy. They got a bunch of guys that are about the same, right? But steady.
Yep.
And so, their record was a little mediocre, but the way they played Saturday, if they continue that, they're going to go far. They'll do pretty well, I think. Because I'm telling you, that was the first time I've seen them. So to me, I was impressed by them. But so anyway, when we come back, we're going to talk NBA, of course, and going to try and get into some spring training. This is LidLine Sports with Pepe and O.
You're listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.org. Check us out on social media, Facebook and Instagram, Rainier Avenue Radio.world, and on Twitter at Rainier Ave Radio.
Celebrate Black History Month at the Call to Conscience Black History Month Museum, formerly Columbia City Theater, 4916 Rainier Avenue South. Call to Conscience Black History Month Museum features exhibits and installations. It's a guided tour.
Installations include the Seattle Black Panther Party, the Black Heritage Society of Washington, the Rainier Cinema Black Movie Posters Collection, the Hartsfield Family Enslaved Quilt Collection, Revere XR, Negro League Baseball's Seattle Steelheads, NAACP Washington, Alaska, and Oregon, Giselle's Famous Chicken, Nasty Mix Records, Sir Mix-a-Lot, South Seattle Emerald, the Museum of History and Industry, Community Keepsakes and Memorabilia, the Total Experience Gospel Choir and Pat Wright, the Black Prisoners Caucus, a display from the Tacoma Buffalo Soldiers Museum.
Tuesdays through Sundays from 11 a.m. 7 p.m. There will be no other location where you can celebrate the achievements and the achievers of the Pacific Northwest and Seattle while recognizing the Black excellence that shines today. For more information, visit RainierAvenueRadio.org or call 206-290-9685.
Greetings. This is your host, DJ Neftali, Rainier Avenue Radio.world, the best DJ in the Seattle area. You can catch me every Monday at 8 p.m. on YouTube. Like I said, this is DJ Neftali, the best reggae in Seattle, Washington, the best radio station, Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Come on, right?
This is an important message about coronavirus. With coronavirus still spreading, those who are most likely to get seriously ill must take extra precautions. You are at a higher risk for getting seriously ill if you are over 65 or if you have any serious underlying medical conditions, like heart disease, chronic lung disease, like asthma, diabetes, or if you're undergoing cancer treatment. If you're at a higher risk for getting seriously ill, it's essential you take extra care to protect yourself. Stay home, avoid close contact with others, wash your hands frequently with soap and water for 20 seconds, disinfect frequently touched objects like doorknobs and light switches. The choices you make are critical, and their impact is significant.
I'm Paul Pearson, host of Star Time. And when I'm not cooking up a batch of my famous wood-flavored chicken, I'm listening to Rainier Avenue Radio.world.
Have you ever went over a friend's house to eat and the food just ain't no good?
Welcome back to LidLine Sports right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Folks, this is the last week to come to the Call to Conscious Black History Month Museum. We're open Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, 11 a.m. to 7 p.m. Purchase tickets at calltoconscience.world. Also, we've got the WIAA High School 3A Boys and Girls Basketball Championships live Saturday. The boys will start at 7 p.m. and the girls at 9 p.m. So don't miss that right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Oh, we were talking about NASCAR and high school basketball at the start of the first half of our show. Now in the second half, let's get into some NBA, man, because we got some fights and some stuff going on, man. What's happening?
Yeah, before we get into that debacle of a fight, I wanted to talk about something that I think has been lingering for the last year and a half. And the more we get to the NBA draft, it's starting to become a story. And that has to do with LeBron James and his son, Bronny James Jr.
Excellent.
Somebody over at ESPN came out with a mock draft this past week, and LeBron James Jr. wasn't in the 2024 one. They now have pushed him to the 2025 draft, and they had him in the second round.
Mm-hmm.
And it caused a lot of, lot to talk about on social media. And, it's for me personally. Now, if we want to break down Bronny James and his NBA trajectory. So right now, he came in, he was a top 50 prospect coming into USC. He's halfway through his freshman season. We all do know that he did have a heart condition that caused him to miss a quarter of the season. But if we want to talk about skill-wise, number one, is he ready to be a pro yet? No. My NBA comparison to Bronny, Pep, if I look at him and I watch the tools that he has and how he plays, I kind of see like a Marcus Smart-esque type of player,
Okay.
Somebody who is a bigger or a combo guard athlete. He is, I think, a really good defender. I think he can be an NBA defender. He also reminds me a little bit of like Gary Payton Jr. In a sense of, just doing the little things. Offensively, he has a lot of work to do. Now, with that being said, is he ready to be in the NBA? No. And it's still up in the air if he will be ready next year. So then you had LeBron James come out and, kind of come to his son's defense about it and basically saying, everybody chill, relax, let Bronny play and let it all develop and the work will take care of itself. Now there's two sides of that because I don't know if you remember, Pep. Bron came out and said beginning of the regular season that Bronny could play over a lot of guys in the NBA right now.
Thank you. And I wanted to address that. Yes.
And he could play on the Lakers right now.
Right.
So there's two sides of that. Now, if you want to say, Bron, that, maybe he can go and put on a jersey, sure. I mean, me and you can go put on a jersey and warm up, Pep. No disrespect.
No, you're right. You're
player at all. But to be able to make an impact is what separates guys that are in the NBA and what guys that aren't. So that was really disrespectful, I think, and really careless of Bron to say. And now you're kind of backtracking from that. And, of course you want the best. At the end of the day, this is a father to his son. And I know it's hard for the outside world to kind of look at it that way because this is an elite superstar, as possibly one of the best players to ever play, and a kid who has been in the limelight since he's been in middle school and grew up in the social media era. And it's a lot. I don't know if it's weighing on him or not, but it does weigh on the situation and put so much immense pressure on him. That's not fair. I do understand and agree with that with LeBron James, but on the other side of it, this is a part of it. This is a part of being the son of one of the greatest basketball players to ever play and wanting to take over in his limelight. The same thing kind of happened with Michael Jordan and his sons coming up too. They weren't they weren't the greatest of college basketball players, but you got to see games on ESPN because of who they were.
Yes.
So yeah, it's starting to blow up now, and like I said, I do on one half feel for Bronny. But like I said, I also do think that he is a decent player, but he has a long way to go.
Right.
What's your thoughts, though, on this, Pep?
Okay, thank you. I agree with you as far as Bronny on all that you said about LeBron. Man, it's his fault. I'm just going to go out and say it. It's his fault because that stuff that he was saying earlier about Bronny being ready and playing the Lakers. Man, he should have just never said any of that.
Yeah.
All he had to do is say, look, Bronny's on the right path. All he needs to do is work hard, do what he needs to do at USC, and everything will fall into place. That's all he needed to say. He didn't have to go through all that. He'll take, he could take somebody's place, whatever, right now, blah, 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 because it's obviously wrong. I feel bad for Bronny because he didn't ask for any of this. All he is the son of the man who's one of the best players ever. And the thing about it is the offspring of the best players ever usually, unfortunately, don't pan out. Let's be fair. It seems like the ones that are awesome, Kobe, because Jelly Bean Bryant was no special player by any stretch. Yeah, he was an NBA guy, but how many people know of Jelly Bean Bryant? Not too many, right? And Jalen Brunson's father. How many people right now out there, other than me, know who Rick Brunson is? I remember Rick Brunson because he played at Temple in Philadelphia. He's from Philly, and I remember him. He was a pretty decent guy. He wasn't no superstar, but he was a pretty good high school player. And then he got to be in college, and he was highly sought after back then. But he was okay. Got into the NBA, which is okay. He had a so-so career, nothing special, right? But it seems like those are the guys whose offspring seem to explode. It's not the superstars, it's not Bird, it's not Magic, it's not Jordan, it's not Isaiah, it's not their offsprings that's doing it, right? It's the guys that's coming off the bench, for whoever back in the day, right? That's doing it. Like Tim Hardaway Jr. Tim Hardaway was look, everybody knows about the killer crossover. Tim Hardaway Jr. has actually turned out to have a pretty good career. But when you first hear about Tim Hardaway Jr., you're going to think that he's going to be like his dad. But he's nothing like his dad, because his dad was only like 6 feet barely and can kill you on the crossover and this and that. Well, Tim Hardaway Jr. is 6'5", slender. He's got a nice frame, nice game, but he's nowhere close to being what his dad was. And, that's just how it works for some reason. I don't know why. I mean, Larry Bird, his son didn't do nothing, but his grandson looks to be like he's going to be something else. That's, remains to be seen. But so I feel bad for Bronny because he didn't ask for any of this. He's just trying to play ball, do his thing. And what they did down in UCLA and calling him names and who's your daddy, that is just uncalled for and unfair.
Am I in?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I do agree. I do agree with you on some parts. On some parts, it's just a part of the game.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it is nasty to hear that stuff that UCLA was saying towards him.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that Bronny expected that, knowing that this is a rivalry and,
Mm-hmm.
of him. But the other thing, though, what I will say is I respect how Bronny has handled the situation.
Mm-hmm.
He hasn't came out and pouted about this or saying he never asked for this. He's accepting whatever is coming his way, and I do think he wants to be a really good player. I think what Bronny
Yes.
said about him working, I do think he's working. I do think he's in the gym. Like I said, some things is just you're not going to. There's nothing you can do about it just because of the magnitude of who you are to and who your father is. But you're right. There has been some gaslighting. That's kind of was unnecessary, especially from
Mm-hmm.
James. But the other side too, I mean, as a dad, I mean, I'm not mad at him for believing in his son and hyping his son up. So
Yeah.
it goes both ways. But I just think I think for the media to take and run with this and to basically trying to force him to be in the NBA and instead of
Mm-hmm.
allowing him, just like Braun said, let his game do the talking and wherever he gets to is where he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
My opinion. So
And let's not forget he's got a younger brother, and everybody's saying, well, from reports that I've seen, some of the highlights I've seen, he might be even better than Bronny right now.
definitely more higher upside on his end. The taller one, more lanky, more athletic one. So I think Bronny's more skilled, but you already know how it goes in basketball. They're gonna look at that kid who may has been the more athletic, longer, taller guy over the guard because of the P word potential. What he
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, I do think he has a little more potential, but I do think Bronny is a little more polished to this point right now. But like I said, best of luck to both of them. And
Absolutely.
we want to see Bronny and Braun play together. We want to see it, but we also want it to be earned, though. We don't
There
want
you go.
to
Exactly.
because then it won't work and it'll be a fail for Bronny. And I know that's not what Braun.
No, we don't want that. I mean, because if you remember back in the day, Ken Griffey Sr. and Ken Griffey Jr. actually played together, but Jr. was definitely legit.
Exactly.
Right. And of course, it was nice of the Mariners to bring Griffey Sr. in his last part of his career over here to actually witness and be a teammate with his son. But it was obvious his son was a super duper star, and he was a super duper star. His dad was a good player, very good player, but he was nowhere close to what his son was, which is awesome actually.
Yep.
For Ken Sr. I mean, because you want your son, your child, your offspring to be better than you. I mean, that's all of us fathers and moms, parents. We all want our children to be better than what we were.
Facts.
Absolutely. So that was pretty awesome. So yeah, and then, I want to bring up Rick Barry. Rick Barry was bro. Back in the day, I mean, he was an MVP, ABA, and NBA scoring champ. He won titles in both leagues. He had 3 sons. All of them played in the NBA, but none of them were anything close to what Rick was. So that that's just, I don't know. Somehow that's how it works a lot of times. If you got the superstar guy and he has a son, don't expect a whole lot from the son. Now it's that guy that's at the end of the bench that hardly got any playing time. When he has a son, that's the one you need to scope out.
Yeah.
For some reason, that guy is going to be super.
Yeah,
man.
I think that's because, like, with the one that doesn't play or just a role player, there's still room for an improvement, and he for improvement, and he instills it into his next offspring.
Right.
There's not much room in improvement for Michael Jordan. So I mean, of course you can teach and then you can't really teach who you are as a player to somebody else.
Oh,
that's
because
hard.
you don't have the same. Because the son might not have the same physical attributes.
Yeah.
So yeah, absolutely.
Definitely agree with that. But we had some playful banter and fighting in the NBA last weekend.
No way.
Yeah, and we saw the Miami Heat and New Orleans Pelicans get into a little bit of a scuffle that led to Najee Marshall, I believe, and Jimmy Butler getting into some physical altercation. I think Marshall put his hands around Jimmy Butler's neck.
Yes.
Butler charged at him. It was multiple players involved. And it was funny because it started over nothing. And it ended with nothing. And I was really surprised to see that there were suspensions. But I guess, like I said, when there's something physical happen, like I said, somebody getting put in their neck, getting chased after. I think somebody came off the bench as well, which is why there was another suspension.
Yeah.
But yeah, the foul was it was a bad foul, but it was a hard, tough foul. I think Zion did the right thing. He walked away from it. Of course, he was probably a little mad about it. Also, like that, his teammate came in. That's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to have.
Yeah.
Not mad at that.
Right.
So I just think after that, though, it just got a little carried away.
Who won the game? Do you know?
The Miami Heat won.
Oh, okay.
Again, Miami Heat's starting to play better basketball. But yeah, they won the game. Guys got suspended. So hopefully this is just water under the bridge after the suspensions kick. I think Jimmy got a 1-game suspension.
Right.
Marshall got, I think, 2 or 3. But yeah, hopefully this is water in the bridge and we keep it pushing. And this goes back to I don't remember who it was I was listening to, but they talked about this, and they go back to how it's comical because these guys do all this rah, and I'm not knocking any person in the NBA right now. I'm not saying anybody's tough, but we know that it takes more to start throwing hands than it did back then. A lot of guys nowadays do the talking, getting in each other's face, and the pushing back and forth, and then at that point, it's broken up. The referees are running into it at this point. Back in the NBA, back then when you guys were growing up on that, they ain't even let it get to the words after.
Not until blood was shown.
Yeah, there was no pushing back and forth. There was a grabbing of the jerseys, wrestling, and then fist was thrown. So I do think it's funny, seeing, and I think Anthony Edwards said it last year when he and somebody else got into it. He said, "Ain't nobody gonna fight in the NBA."
Yeah,
it ain't gonna happen.
Nope.
Look,
there's a few guys in the back in the day that you didn't want to mess with. You didn't want to mess with Oakley, right? You didn't want to mess with Mahorn. Lambeer wasn't. He was just a big blowhard, but he couldn't fight. But just some guys, you just don't mess with. And Artest, so.
Yeah.
But nowadays, I don't know who that would be.
No.
I mean, you look at LeBron, right, and you think that who would want to step up to him? But man, he don't look like he could do nothing.
Yeah, but see, that's more to you don't have there's a small group of players now who even test LeBron in that type of sense. You brought up guys like Ron Artest. I was listening to him talking about how that he would go and play pickup games with Michael Jordan towards the latter end of his career, and he would go guard him and play physical. There's maybe 2 to 3 guys that are like that. Pat Bev, Draymond Green.
Yeah, absolutely. There's always somebody like that, right?
Not that many, and there's not anybody who takes that chip on their shoulder like that and go play in a game and want to go poke the bear. There's not too many guys like that. So I don't understand. Just like Anthony Edwards said, what's all the talking for? Or what's the point of me getting in each other's face? Ain't nothing gonna happen.
Nope.
So it's funny that became big news. Like it was an actual fight.
I know the caption was like, "Oh, Jimmy Butler got choked and thrown to the ground." I'm like, "What?" But I was like, and then I was like, "I can't wait to see this." And then I turned it on. I'm like, "Oh man, come on!"
Yeah,
over exaggeration like crazy.
Nothing.
I did watch the Bucks yesterday.
I
watched that. They finally looked good.
Yeah, they looked really good.
And boy, they need Chris Middleton in the worst way, though, man. Because if they can't get him back, they got no shot, bro.
For them,
I don't see it.
For them, it just it's just all bad timing about a lot of things. Of getting a new head coach to start the season, now a new head coach at the beginning of the season, trying to implement a new defense again and kind of freestyle offense. And I think when it comes to 7 games, I don't know. And they will be lucky, I think, to even get out of the first round this year. But with that being said, if they
better though, they better though, or Giannis is gone.
You think so? He signed an extension,
bro. Listen, man.
I think Giannis also does understand the magnitude of how everything happened this year, and I don't think he'll hold it. I do think he'll be frustrated, but I would hope as a basketball player that he would also understand that a lot of that's on coaching changes and the roster that they had that he wanted. So that's why
that's what I'm saying.
that's why I'm
Yeah,
hoping
that's a fact.
understanding and not walking to that front office if they lose in the first round and demand that he is now the change in that organization, because that wouldn't be fair. And honestly, though, I wouldn't feel bad for the front office for that's their fault for allowing a player to have maybe just too much control and really kind of not know what he's doing in that department when it comes to putting a team together, coaching, and all that. So maybe
they're sitting at 3 right now, right, in the East. So 3 versus 6. Who's 6th right now? New York.
I believe. No, I think the Knicks are higher than that.
Oh, okay.
Maybe Daniel can bring those standings up.
Because Cleveland's 2 right now.
Let's see.
Philly's probably 5, 4, somewhere around there. New York's got to be.
Or I don't know if they fell too far. Oh, so the Knicks are 4, Philly's 5.
Okay.
So you will have the Pacers, like I said.
Yeah. That's a tough one.
To the Bucks right now is the Pacers because of how they play.
And it depends on the matchup. How have they matched up with Indiana so far this season? We got to look at that and kind of get a gauge on what's going to happen in the playoffs if they play. If of course, look, we don't know if the standings are going to remain the same. We're just hypothetical right now. If it ended today, it would be the Bucks and the Pacers. So yeah.
And I do think Miami will climb. They always start figuring it out in the second half of the season.
Yeah. Spoelstra.
3-game streak. Jimmy Butler has been healthy now. I know Tyler Hero's still been in and out the lineup, but I think they'll get rolling, and I won't be surprised if they at least catch the 5 seed and get up there. Hoping that the Pacers can keep themselves out of the plan. I want them to stay in that out of that plan scenario. And I do hope that the Magic still can find their way out, or even if they do make the plan, I do hope that they can find their way in the playoffs. But
because we want to see Paolo, right? We want to see Paolo in the playoffs.
They are out though if they stay in the 8th seed to beat Boston. I don't know if they have enough, but that'll be a fun, matchup to see all those young guys.
Oh yeah.
The court.
Well, look, they got nothing to lose. They just go out there and play loose, right? But the thing is, all the pressure's on Boston, whatever series they're in. They have to get to the finals.
Agree.
They have to. Because if they don't get to the finals this year, it's a fail.
I think they got
and if they lose, man, I don't know what to tell you.
It should right now for how long that especially Jason Tatum and Jalen have made playoff runs. They've been doing this since the rookie year.
But see, now they've got a dependable third guy. Porzingis has been a gem for them. I mean, Porzingis didn't work in New York. He didn't work in Dallas, but he's definitely working there.
And the issue, though, for them is the 2 guys at the top when they get to the West Conference Finals or East Conference Finals in the playoff in this final. It's those 2. So they play more at a consistent level when it matters.
Absolutely.
But did you know, Pep, that the Dallas Mavericks, who are in 8th place in the Western Conference, are closer to the number 1 seed than the Cleveland Cavaliers is close to catching the Boston Celtics, who are the 2 seed.
That is crazy.
So the Cavaliers are 7.5 games out of first. Boston on away with first, but the Dallas Mavericks only 7 games out of first place.
That is crazy. And Dallas has been playing well since those trades with getting PJ Washington. Yeah, so they're going to look like they could do some damage come playoff time for sure.
Watched them play my Suns last weekend, and there's no answer for Luka Doncic against the Phoenix Suns.
Right.
Killed us every time, and I'm just hoping that we just stay far away from him in the play.
And then Bradley Beal's out again. He's in, he's out, he's in, he's out. Typical.
So, he's out. But they did get a good win over the Lakers.
Royce O'Neal had a good game.
Yes, very good game. I love the pickup of him. But the team that I think is playing really good basketball right now is the Golden State Warriors. They are starting to click. They're starting to figure some things out. Klay Thompson can come off the bench his last few games. It's working. The rookie, Podzinski or something like that, he's been starting to love that pickup for him. I think I watched him once when he was at not Santa Clara. I can't think of one of the small schools over there in that conference. So I think I watched him play once, and scrappy dude and can score, and that was a really good pickup for them. But those guys are figuring it out. The Mavericks are starting to figure it out. The Pelicans are starting to put their wins together, and then you got the Timberwolves and Thunder, who I keep thinking that there's going to be some type of fall off, and it's not happening, Pep.
Right.
Especially with the Timberwolves.
Yep.
They aren't a fluke, and maybe they are possibly real contenders this year. And a lot of us who got on them for trading 4 first-round draft picks for Rudy Gobert, shame on us for not letting it unfold, I guess. So.
Yeah. And plus, I like their point. I like the pickup of getting Mike Conley to steady that offense. I mean, it was a smart move. I've always liked him. So, yeah, that definitely put them up over the top.
Yeah.
For sure.
So definitely look for in the West Conference for things to just unfold. See where teams are going to end up in those 1 through 6. Who's going to have to play in the play-in scenario, which is going to be a tough situation this year in the West Conference. Playing that play-in, man, it can go either way. It doesn't matter if you're the 7th seed or the 10th seed.
Right.
But you're playing against some juggernauts. But yeah, that's definitely something that we're going to look to see unfold now, over these next 3 to 4 weeks, see who can fit where. I don't know, Pep. I don't know who's going to end up first. I don't know.
Well, that's good, right? We don't want the juggernaut, right? We want to find out. We want a good competitive playoff and let the best team, rise to the top.
Real quick, Pep, how would you feel about the NBA playoffs just being 1 through 16? So you take your top 8 from the East, top 8 from the West, and then you format it 1 and 16. Now the top best seed in the NBA plays the worst record out of all those.
Yeah, I wouldn't have a problem with that at all. Yeah, not at all. I mean, whatever. If they feel that that's going to improve the product, why not?
Yeah,
I mean, playoffs are good anyway. So playoffs have never been a problem. Problem is, the regular season and an all-star. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So anyway. All right, cool, man. Thanks. I want to get into real quick. The spring training has started for the Mariners. They started off 0-2, but today 6 pitchers combined for a 1-hitter. That hit was given up in the bottom of the 8th with 2 outs. But the Mariners finally get their first victory of the spring, 2-0 over the Cincinnati Reds. So kudos to that. And let's hope for many more spring training and regular season. But so on behalf of myself and O and Daniel, of course, we will be back next week right here on LidLine Sports. Thank you for listening, everyone, right here on Rainier Avenue Radio.world. Holla.